Okay. Okay, holding a Simon Shin Ches, the last Sif Nun Beis. Says in Mechaba Muktzah Ashirim, if something is muktzah for an Ashir, have a muktzah bafulu aniyim emetalton. So we're talking about a case, Mechaba is talking about a case where an Ashir has something, and for him, it's not a davar chashuv. A small piece of beged, that for the Ashir, it's not a davar chashuv. So for him, it's muktzah. He has no use for it. So since he's the owner of it, even if an ani would have this piece of beged, he would use it. Still, it's muktzah even for the aniyim. A full aniyim ain't metalton. This Mechaba is telling us,
makes it into a muktzah.
Yeah. The thing of the Mechaba is telling us that anything that's yours is totally in the Bailim. So for the Bailim it's muktzah. Here the Bailim is the Ashir. So for the Bailim it's muktzah. So therefore, even though for an ani, this same exact thing, if he would own it, he would use it. Still, it's muktzah even for aniyim, because muktzah goes after the owner, after the Bailim.
And if it's opposite, if it's
okay, it's saying to be the opposite. If an ani has something, and for him it's not muktzah, the Ashir should also be able to use it. We'll see in a second if that's true in all cases. So let's see the Magen Avram over here. It says the Magen Avram, Sifkot 9 Tes, Ein Metaltalin, Shekvar Huktzah Midaita Shel Balabayis Ashir. It's very huktzah from the Balabayis, the owner is das. We don't need that to be muktzah for everybody. All we need is that the owner is Maktzah Midaita. V'chein Minan B'fnei She'asra Hakikar Al Atma Beneder Nasa Muktzah. Ran. So the Ran says the same thing would be if someone has a kikar, a bread, and he asks it on himself with a neder, so he cannot use it, he's the owner. The same thing would apply, since it's muktzah for the owner, it would be muktzah for everybody else. That's the Ran. Now on that, says the Shulta Gebayrim, Kasav HaShulta Gebayrim, Alzeh, V'zel L'shoynoi, V'ataysis Daf Mem Vav, so this is the way Shulta Gebayrim learns Taisvis, the Dafka L'isha Asura, that he argues on the Ran. And he says that if someone asers a kikar on himself, it's muktzah for him, he cannot use it on Shabbos, it's only muktzah for him. The dafka l'isha asur aval acherim mutter. For other people, this kikar is mutter. V'chein nereli, says the Shulta Gebayrim, the Bekama Mekayim is ashkam refine, muktzah l'ish echad, ein muktzah l'koil. Muktzah for one person is not muktzah for everybody. So Shulta Gebayrim is basically arguing, and he says that, no, if it's muktzah for the owner, it doesn't mean it's muktzah for everybody. And he says, if this thing is roy for everybody else, el the isser who, the revi'alei, it's an isser that's lying on it, revi'alei means it's kneeling on it, there's an isser on it, then still, mutter l'kol v'taltaloi, everyone's not being metaltaloi. But something that's muktzah because of its greyusa, meaning it's not worth something, not because it has an isser. Greyusa means because of its unimportantness. It's not so important to him. The so the Shulta Gebayrim is learning in Taisvis, not like our Mechaber, that if you have muktzah la'ashirim, even though they're the owners, still it's mutter for everybody else to use it. That's the way Shulta Gebayrim learns Taisvis. Says the Magen Avram, they come argue on the way Shulta Gebayrim learns Pshat and Taisvis.
So just in terms of the lashon, Abel Dover Shehu, it sounds like he's going to make it a chiluk between that, but he comes out it's the same.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
The lashon Abel, the lashon is a little wrong.
Right?
Yeah, I should check the Shulta Gebayrim itself, see if it says that lashon.
That Abel shouldn't be.
Yeah, Abel is mashma, he's changing, but
Abel,
it's not.
Abel's mashma like the way the Magen Avram comes out at the end.
Right, he doesn't say it, right.
In the scene that in the Eintet that you read in the beginning, you said Asura Laisha. Is it that the wife's woman? Is it talking about the wife's woman or
the wife?
Because we are talking about the kikar?
Right.
Akikar asura leisha.
Right.
It means if the husband says
No. She says it. She said the neder.
she says the neder and she
Yeah, it does it to her. So says the Magen Avraham, a tzarchiyim. The Kavanah Hatoytzes Gamkein is also the imbush shel Ashir afanim and metalton loisam, which is our mechaber. So the Magen Avraham argues on the Shulta Geborim Harold and Pshat and Tosfos, and he says Kivin Shu Muktzah the Machmas Yusa the Hakol Hoylech Achar Daita Shel Balabayis. Everything goes after the das of the Balabayis. Rak Bezeh Pligi. This is what the Shulta Geborim argues a Harag. There's only one machlokes between the Shulta Geborim and the Ran, which is V'sfir Lei the Muktzah Machmas Isser the Revia Lei Mutter Lakoil. If it's only Muktzah because of the Isser that's on top of it, then Mutter Lakoil. The Gamet Dachman Vav Kosva Tosfos the Heiche the Nodra and Nom Mekikar Afilah Hi Atzma Shari the Taltala. Tosfos holds even she is self-giving Taltalit, Kivin the Chazul Acherim, since other people could use it. Elim Kain Asaratem Al Kala Oilam. Unless it's Asar the whole world, so now no one's allowed to use it, so it becomes Muksa B'Chem Ashman L'Kamon Semicha Chavhei the Divrei Shulta Geborim Tzarchim. So we have over here is the Magen Avraham brings down the Ran. The Ran says, not like the Mechaber, the Ran holds Muktzah La'ashirim is not Muktzah La'aniyim. We don't go after the Das Balabayis, even though it's Muktzah for the Balabayis for himself, but for other people who would use it, it's not Muktzah. That's the Ran. The Shulta Geborim says, argues in the Ran, and he says, sorry, the Ran's the opposite. Sorry, the Ran says, the Ran says everything, any time that it's a muktzah for one person, it's a muktzah for everybody else also. Even a kikar. Even a case where someone makes a neder and asks the neder and asks the kikar on themselves, even though it's only also because of a neder, it's also for everybody. So the Ran holds also for the Balabayis, no matter what the reason is, also for everybody. The Shulta Geborim goes the opposite. He says in Tosfos, there's no such thing. If it's muktzah for one person, it doesn't mean it's muktzah for anybody else. Every person, it's not totally in the das balabayis. The Magen Avraham makes a split. And he says that it depends. If it's muktzah machmas greyusa, if it's muktzah because it's not worth much to the owner, then he makes a muktzah. It's his chayfetz, it's his article, and therefore it's muktzah for everybody. But kikar, something that you asur because of a neder, there's only an isser on it. Not just is it not muktzah for everybody else, it's not even muktzah for the owner. Why is it a muktzah for the owner? Because since other people could use it, he could give it to the other people, and therefore it's not muktzah.
So what does his neder do?
right. Not eating it.
You don't eat it.
But it doesn't make muktzah.
It doesn't make a
It doesn't
muktzah.
even make muktzah.
Right. The neder makes it that he's not allowed to eat it. But it's not muktzah for him because other people could eat it.
the neder is the gavra.
Yeah, and that's on the guy. The person is also to eat it. Everybody else is allowed to eat it. Therefore it's not even muktzah for him because he could give it to other people to eat if he wants.
Yeah.
And the Mishnah Berurah passes like the Magen Avraham. If you look in the Mishnah Berurah Sifkan Nun Kuf
Semicha.
Ayin, look in Kuf Ayin. Ein metaltel shekvar huktzah midayta sheval habayit she'ashir ve'ein chilek ben anim she'beisa be'anim she'chutz le'beisai. Doesn't make a difference. Lazlina and basa mishu ba'ala. We go after the owner. V'ad yisrael b'sifil gimel dem yesh behem gimel atzpoit ha'gimel atzpoit mutal taltala. It's not muktzah even though it's very small. Hainu dafkik shem shel ani. Only if it belongs to a poor person.
It says choshev.
Him it's choshev. V'ad mutal gama ashel taltal oisan. Now it brings out a chiddush from the Taz. V'ayim b'Taz. Shemasik, the dafka kisher ashir dor bebeis ha'ani. Taz says the difference between an ashir, who for him it's muktzah, so it's muktzah for everybody, for all aniyim, but an ani who has a beged that's very small, and an ashir has no use for it, so it's the ani says it's not muktzah because he uses it, so now it shouldn't be muktzah for anybody else. Says the Taz no, only if the ashir is living in the ani's house. So Ashur nigdar acharov, aval Ashur the alma Asur l'taltal. An Ashur who doesn't live in his house can't be metaltal. Kivin shkamakim any royal life or pockets or gimel tvachim. Chiddush of the Taz. And then it brings out the next chiluk of the Magen Avraham that an isser is not a problem. An isser, if someone asks something on themselves, it's not muktzah for the whole world. Why? Because everybody else can eat it. It's not even muktzah for the owner of the chayfetz.
Could you learn that the Mechaber also would agree to this? In other words,
Maybe.
you could learn that the Mechaber was just talking about a case of Griyusa.
Right. Mechaber can agree to it. Mechaber doesn't say anything about Isser.
Right. In other words, by the case of Isser, he would agree.
Yeah,
that
there was one of Rabbi brings rayas to it from Shin Chav Hey. Chem Hashmal, the command from Shin Chav Hey, where it says there, if something is brought with chutz tchum for one person, let's say something is brought with chutz tchum for Ruvain.
Right.
So it's also for Ruvain to use it. But it's not muktzah for Ruvain because Shimon could use it. So even though it's also for Ruvain, doesn't mean it's also like Chayil.
Unless you had
So it means the right
said that it's asur lekulam, then it's asur.
Yeah, it's asur lekulam, but there's not asur lekulam, it's only asur for Ruvain. It may be a little different over there because there, who said Ruvain's the Bailim? It's brought mechutz tchum for Ruvain. Someone, a guy brought a matana for Ruvain. It only became his on Shabbos. Could be it's different, but the one Rabbi is derived from there. So he's basically saying the Mechaber is masking to his chilik that at any time it is machmas iser. It's also for me to use it, but it's not also for you to use it. That it's not muktzah for anybody because I can give it to you and you can use it. Okay, that's Siman Shin Ches. Let's go on to Siman Shin Tes. Shin Tes is a siman basically about bosses, and we'll go into all the pratim about it soon as we go through it. Okay, says the Mechaber. A person is allowed to carry his son, child, wherever biyadai, and the kid has a stone in his hand. Now the stone is muktzah, so the kid is holding muktzah. So the question is, if the father is picking up the child, maybe it's called the father is moving the muktzah. It's not considered that he's being metaltal the evan. Now, what the Mechaber means over here, it's not considered as being metaltal the evan. It doesn't mean that it's always mutter. He says, "Hu sheyesh la gaguim, pirish ben sheyesh la itzvayin she'enai imaviv." The kid has a yearning for his father, and the father's not going to pick him up. He's gonna cry. So it's not a heter. This is what the Mechaber says. Like chashem metaltal le'evan, it's not considered that he's moving the evan. Doesn't mean it's mutter in all cases. It is considered he's moving the evan, and therefore it's also in a case where the kid doesn't have gaguim. So why is it mutter over here? Here on mekel in the case of a kid. Why? Because if you're not going to pick up the child, he'll get sick. And therefore it is a heter to be over an isser over here of tiltal, even though, why? Because we're scared the kid may get sick.
So but it's tiltal, it's not a tiltal.
Yeah, so we'll get that in a second, yeah.
How far do you take, because later on we'll see there's a difference between the child just throwing a temper tantrum versus getting sick. Is a Mechaber...
Is a chilik?
Oh, we'll see that...
Gul means he's going to throw a tantrum.
It's called chaylik.
Yeah.
That's
what
it's
I'm
called.
asking.
Throwing a tantrum. If you can avoid a kid from throwing a tantrum, you should avoid it. Why? Because you see, even Issa D'Rabbanan on Shabbos were mekalon because Shema Yichla.
So Eben B'Yada is only a halacha that's totally in a heter that you have because of either gagui.
Right, we'll see why. Look at the Mishbur over here.
But we said tiltum and tzad if you pick
so
up
that's the question. Why is this case of picking up the child with the evan in his hand? Why is that called being metal to the evan? You're not doing anything. It's tiltum and tzad.
Yeah.
Tiltum and tzad.
Tiltum and tzad. If you want to pick up your hammer from something that on something that's mutter, that's tiltum and tzad also, right?
Pick up.
You have a hammer outside. It's going to get it's going to get wet.
No, that's.
You're picking it up. I got a book. It's sitting on top of a book.
Oh.
Right.
Then it depends.
So you bring the book in.
If you bring the book in, so there's a heter, we'll see that if you tiltum at tzad, the tzarech davar ha-mutter is mutter.
Right.
If you're doing it for the hammer, it's also. If you tiltum at tzad, the tzarech the hammer will be also. Here it's tiltum at tzad. The question is, it's not that you don't need the even.
Let's say, for example, even if you have a nutcracker, but now you're going to use the hammer as your nutcracker.
Something else, because it's tzarech kufa mekaymoy.
Right.
That's tzarech kufa mekaymoy. You're allowed to move the hammer, tzarech kufa mekaymoy. But if the hammer is outside, you don't need to crack any nuts. And it's lying on top of the book.
It's not going to be the same.
That's what you want to take it because it's raining. Right. That's called mechamal atzel.
Right.
So there's no heter to move a hammer mechamal atzel.
Right.
So if the hammer is on the book, if you have to move the book inside,
or
so
you have a dray heter to say that you're going to use it to crack a nut.
Something else, so they can take the hammer directly. Yeah, then you move the hammer directly. If you use it for the nut, you can take the hammer directly inside.
You don't even need the book, right?
You don't need the book.
Right.
But the question is, you don't need the hammer, but you want to save it from rain. So there, it's tiltum at tzad. If you're doing it for the hammer, it's tiltum at tzad.
Then you need the book.
But the question of the book helps. Because if you're doing a tiltum at tzad, the tzarech the hammer, it's also.
Unless you need the book.
Unless you need the
So
book.
are you treating here where the kid is holding onto the stone, are you treating it as tiltum at tzad?
So that's the question.
Or maybe treat the kid as a bus.
So that's the question over here. That's the question of what's wrong with being a taltal, the tinnik, with the evan in his hand. It's tiltum at tzad. You don't need the evan. It's tiltum at tzad, the tzarech the tinnik. You want to carry the tinnik, not the store, not the evan.
Yeah, the evan.
So why is it also?
It doesn't use it.
Why is it also?
No intentions.
Yeah, no intentions for the stone. So look in the Mishnah Berurah here. It says. Evan biyada, the first Mishnah Berurah. We're talking about is a chatzer the aim by elam mishum it's a tiltal. It's only a power muktzah. L'chein le'asu ba mishum tzarek the tinuk. Because tzarek tinuk we didn't answer it. Kid lekamon. Av b'shus rabim vaday aser mishum iser tzah. Why is it aser b'shus rabim? The chshenoises a tinuk when you're carrying the child havak ilu noises evan biyadoi. It's as if you're carrying the stone in your hand. So usually when you pick up one chayfetz and there's another chayfetz on top of it, we say it's called tiltum and atzad.
Yeah, but here
a lot of chayyim medayik, I think Moshe Zamas medayik this in the is that when you're picking up the child, it's not called tiltum and atzad. The child that's holding the stone is as if you're picking up the stone directly. It's not tiltum and atzad. It's tiltul directly, and therefore it would be also if not because of tzara the tinnik.
Because maybe also because there's a high noise
yeah. And therefore the stone, as if you're carrying the stone. As if you're carrying the stone directly. Because the child you're not carrying, because chayim noise is atzmoy.
But it's, hold on, the chayim noise is not, but it's usher.
It's usher, right. But it helps you enough to say that you're carrying the stone.
If he, unless he's, there's a reason to pick him up.
Right.
In other words, would Gaguin help for chayim noise atzmoy and Rosh Hashanah?
No,
forget about a stone.
Gaguin makes it worse. Gaguin, he wants you to pick him up. So only when he's fighting that he shouldn't pick him up, then we say maybe it's not, don't have to chayim noise atzmoy.
But there has to be a reason. You can't just pick up, right? Chayim noise atzmoy, child
you're not picking, no, it's also just we're not being matter just around.
And I'm talking about outside of muktzah, just chayim noise atzmoy.
Yeah, don't have to. No, you won't have to set it. You won't have to set to pick up the child because of Gaguim in Rosh Hashanah. We're not matter in Nitza Deraisa. If it's in Rosh Hashanah you're carrying. Chayim noise atzmoy says.
It's also because it's a drab. It's
also the Rabbanon. Chayim noise atzmoy. We're not going to matter carrying in Rosh Hashanah. We're not going to be matter. Even though it's only carrying with the Rabbanon because it's kind of that's but we're not going to matter. Right, so they have the Evan, says the Mishnah Berurah, says if you're carrying the Evan directly. So here they'll take care of the problem of tiltul also. Because if you're carrying, it's not called tiltum and atzad. That's what some achronim want to say, that's why you have to come onto the heter of Gaguim, of Tzara Dinuka, because it's as if you're carrying the Evan directly. But they say from the Chazon Ish says that here, let's say it's not a tiltum and atzad. The heter of tiltum and atzad is only the tzarech davar ha heter, not the tzarech davar ha muktzah. Here you need the stone, because the child wants to carry the stone. So it's tiltum and atzad, the tzarech davar ha muktzah. you're picking up the child who's holding the stone, and you want him to hold the stone. Because if not, let him throw it down. Right? The Magen Avraham says, why do you have to carry? So let the kid throw down the stone. So it says because the kid wants the stone. If not, he's going to throw a tantrum. So it's called tiltul min hatzad l'tzorich davar hamuktzah. It's as if you need a stone, and therefore it would be asur if not for the fact that it's tzara dinuka. So if you look in the
so that's why why this is not altogether tiltul min hatzad.
Right. That's what the Chazon says. That's why it's not tiltul min hatzad, because even though it's tiltul min hatzad, the Chazon shows it is called tiltul min hatzad, but it's called the tzarech davar ha'asur.
Asur. That's okay.
Right. That's why it's asur.
Tzarech davar asur, and therefore tiltul min hatzad davar
asur is asur.
Being asur.
So they have to come into the head of tzara dinuka. If you look at the Magen Avraham, Sif Katan Aleph, the asur tiltul shalav yedayim b'makom sakana schayli. He didn't asur a tiltul shalav yedayim. Also, the Loshe Magen Avraham is mashma. It's not called tiltul min hatzad. It's a regular tiltul, but it's not mamish a tiltul b'yedayim. Let the kid throw the stone down, or it's Chassav Sif Gimel. You can see later on, if you have an eighth to throw away the stone, you should throw it away. He's going to scream and cry, and that itself will be a chashash chayli. So that's the heter over here, to pick up a child with Evan B'yada, even though there's a problem of tilt. Now, the Pri Megadim already over here has an ha'ara, because we see in Simin Shin Chav Ches that tzarchei tinik, anything a child needs, is mutter. In Shin Chav Ches, Sif Yud Zayin, the Magen Avraham, the Ramah says, at the end of Sif Yud Zayin, says Aga, mutter loim la'akum, you're allowed to tell a guy, last is tafshil l'katin, she'ein le'ma lechal. The kid doesn't have what to eat, you're allowed to tell a guy to make it for him. The stam tzarchei katin, kechayla she'ein bois hakana dami. Tzarchei katin are like a chayla she'ein bois hakana. The needs of a child is like the needs of a chayla she'ein bois hakana. The halacha by chayla she'ein bois hakana is you're allowed to do an issa d'rabbanan. So, if you look in the Magen Avraham Sif Katan Tezvav, last is tafshil, v'muter lahachiloi muktzeh b'yadayim im iyaf shebinyan acher. You're allowed to feed a kid muktzeh, a yisrael is allowed to take muktzeh and feed the kid muktzeh b'yadayim if you have no other way of doing it. Why? Because tzarchei tinik are kechayli she'en bo sakana. So, for the Pri Megadim, if there's a heter of tzarchei tinik, so why over here they have to come on that the kid has gaguim and shema yichla, he'll become sick, even without that. All tzarchei tinik are mutter.
Yeah. So what's he come?
So why here we have to come on to heter of shema yichla. So people go to the teretz that maybe here we're more machmir for certain reasons. The Tilul David, this would be more negayah Shin Chav Ches when we get to it. But the Tilul David brings the raya from here that it says that Shin Chav Ches that tzarchei tinik are kechayla she'en bo sakana is not all tzarchei tinik. It's only tzarchei tinik of achila, of eating. Only if you need something to eat. But any other tzarchei tinik are not called chayla she'en bo sakana. We'll see when we get to Shin Chav Ches, there's a machlokes about it. But this is one of the Tilul David's rayas that tzarchei tinik, that's mutter, at chayla she'en bo sakana, is only
by
eating. Food that the kid needs. I'm not talking about the kid has a fever or something, that's something else. We're talking about stam tinik, a healthy child. Everything that's called chayla she'en bo sakana, that's only talking about food. But other inyanim, other tzrachim for the tinik, says the Tilul David, is not called tzarchei tinik she'en bo sakana, and therefore we also to be over an issa d'rabbanan. So then it'll be very good. Why over here we have to come on to the heter of shema yechla? Maybe we get sick. Okay.
Where was it in Shin Chav Ches?
Sif Yud Zayin, the Ramon Sif Yud Zayin.
The Ramon Sif Yud Zayin.
Okay, it says the Mechaber Baita. This all the Tinuk has gaguim. Aval ein le gaguim. Kid doesn't have any yearnings of loy. Because there is no chash of chayli. Now says the Mechaber Felix sheyesh le gaguim olav. Even if the kid has yearnings for his father, lehitiru ella be'even. We're only maturated by a stone. If the kid is holding a stone, you'll not pick him up. Aval dinner biyadai. But if he has money in his hand, even if the kid is walking and he is holding his hand, it's also the chashinan dilma nafel. We're scared the dinner, the money may fall. And the father will end up picking it up because it has value to it. If the kid's holding a stone, then only if you pick him up it's a problem because it's called being metal to the stone. But if the kid is holding money in his hand, which has value to the parent, so then if the parent is walking and even holding the child's hand, he's not lifting up the child, it's also because we're scared the kid's going to drop it, and the parent will come and pick it up. That shouldn't go to waste, the money. We didn't make a gzeira so far that even if you're holding his hands, only if you pick up the tinnik im dinner b'yadai. But to hold the child in your hand, there's no isser. So the machlokes over here, if the kid's holding a dinner in his hand, holding money in his hand, if you're allowed to even just walk holding the child's hand, because it's scared you may pick up after he drops the dinner, you may end up picking it up. If you look in the Mishmur Sifkan Gimel, here it says in Mefurish, what's the isser of picking up a child with an evan in his hand? It says the Mishmur over here, Mishmur Sifkan Gimel, the ma shemetaltol ha'atinoi ma'muktzah, the fact that he's being metaltol the tinoi with the muktzah in the kid's hand, hava ki'ilu hu atzmai metaltol ha'muktzah v'aser. It's as if he himself, the parent, is being metaltol the muktzah. Not tiltum min atzad. The Mr. Brew is mashma over here that by carrying the child, it's as if you yourself are carrying the evan. Chazanish learns that it's tiltum min atzad the tzarech davar ha'aser. Mr. Brew here is mashma. It's a problem of tiltul mamish the muktzah. Picking up the child, it's as if you picked up the evan itself. Now, if you look in the next one. Sifka and Dalid, v'asal asuyei, v'asal v'ul asuyei, v'atzleima v'nimtza metaltal ha'muktzah v'yedayim, v'zeh lo hitiroi, afilu v'mokum sheneger l'chash chayli, haben, kivin l'hamachshash l'konis nefashos. Metaltal ha'muktzah v'yedayim, that we were not matter. Therefore, it was a chash, you're going to pick up the muktzah, it's awesome. So here, the machlokes is how far the chash goes. Does the chash go when you're holding his hand, or only when you pick up the child? So why should there be an isser? Why should there be an isser? What should be the difference? If you hold the chash is that when the kid throws down the dinner, you may pick it up. So what's the difference if you're carrying him or if you're holding his hand? Both times, when he throws down the dinner, you're going to go pick it up. So says the Magen Avram Sifkat and Beis, Kishu Noisei, the Yomi is going to say, someone's going to say, the Cheshem, Shemuter Lisa Hatinaik Imadiner, Kachmuter Lisa Hadiner B'Luchudei. So that's the difference between carrying the child holding the dinner or holding his hand. The one that holding his hand is an issue, so then the reason must be because you're scared he's going to throw it down and you may end up picking it up. The ones that hold that the issue is only when you're carrying him, because we're not choishish that the kid's going to throw it down and you're going to pick it up. It's a different chash. The chash is that if you're allowed to carry the child with the money in his hand, people may say, you're allowed to carry the money directly. That's the issue. So here, the practical nafkamina would be picking up a child, or the person would say, even pushing a baby carriage. Pushing a baby carriage, you're moving the child. Even if you're not picking him up, you're moving the child, and there's muktzah in his hand. So it could be tzasa. If the kid doesn't have a gagum, it could be tzasa. Not just when you're holding the child.
Yeah.
When you're pushing him.
It's really indirect.
If the muktzah is in the carriage, or
it's
only
not even till
That's a good question, right?
It's not even till outside, is it?
Pushing him, yeah.
Yeah.
So if the muktzah is in the carriage, it could be it's more of a heter. Especially like the Mishnah Berurah over here. Mishnah Berurah says the reason why there's a problem here is because when you're picking up the child, it's as if you're picking up the muktzah directly. That's only by a child. You can't say that when the muktzah is in the carriage. The muktzah is in the carriage, you don't have this issur.
It's not a basis. It's a basis for the
no, the carriage won't become a basis to the muktzah because the child's in the carriage also. It's the heter with the issur, and you're moving the carriage because of the child, not because of the muktzah.
So what comes out if let's say he's holding the cell phone from yesterday?
Yeah, if the kid's holding a double muktzah in the carriage, you should try to get it out of his hand. Try to get the kid to drop it, then push the carriage.
Or drop it in the carriage or whatever.
Or drop it in the carriage. Drops in the carriage and it's okay.
Yeah, like I mean, picks up keys or things that were left in the.
Any muktzah object. If the kid is holding a muktzah object, you should try to get the kid to drop it. The kid's going to have gagum, he doesn't want to drop it, then it's mutter. But if you get the kid to drop it, the kid should drop it.
All he has gagum.
Now, the Levush over here, the Levush says that there's a chashash by a dinner that the kid's going to throw it down, the father's going to pick it up. There's also a chashash, not just a tiltal muktzah that's a chashash, it's also a chashash of carrying in a Rishus Rabbim. So if you're walking with a kid in a Rishus Rabbim, even if he's not holding something that's muktzah, he's holding something that's not muktzah, and his kid is going to throw it down. So according to the first shita, the Mechaber says the Levush, it'll be also to hold the kid's hand while he's carrying something, anything, in a Rishus Rabbim. Because there's always a chashash to throw the chayfetz down, whatever it is, and you may end up picking it up. So if it's holding a rock or something that has no value, then it's not a problem. Because we're not chayshish, you're going to pick it up. But if he's carrying his baby bottle, where there's a chashash, he'll pick it up, even though it's not muktzah, but there's a chashash, maybe he'll carry it in a Rishus Rabbim, says the Levush, it's also to hold the kid's hands according to this according to the first sheet in the Mechaber. Why? According to the second sheet, the whole problem is the chayshish, only when he's carrying the child, the chayshish. So in the Rishus Rabbim, he's not carrying the child. But according to the first sheet, where there's a chashash, you may throw it down and you'll pick it up, something that has value. So in a chatzir, it's only something that's muktzah. In a Rishus Rabbim, it could be something even that's not muktzah. Why? Because the chayshish, you may throw it down and you'll pick it up. So therefore, if you're holding a kid's hand, the kid's carrying a baby bottle, it may be also to carry the kid's hand according to the Levush.
But even if it's not going to throw it down, the mere fact that the father holds on to the hand, he's already...
No, he's not carrying the bottle.
Pardon?
He's not carrying the bottle. The kid's carrying the bottle.
But I know, but the father gives the hand to the child.
Right.
So indirectly, he is the one who guides.
Who's carrying?
Not carrying, but
not carrying it. Yeah, the kid's carrying it. It's not a problem. The kid's carrying it, even though the father is guiding the child, but the father is not carrying it. The kid is carrying the bottle. So that would be a chumrah of the Levush.
It's a big chiddush. It means you wouldn't be able to walk across the kid across the street.
According to this, you can't walk a kid across the street. There's no eruv when the kid's carrying anything in his hands. If you're holding his kid's hand, that's what will come out according to Levush. So the question is, you have to be chayshish for the chumrah of the Levush. Most places don't bring it down, but there's also a heter because this is only according to the first sheet in the Mechaber. It's only according to the first sheet in the Mechaber.
Which we should be chayshish for. Stam v'yesh.
Yeah, but the question is, do we pass out the first sheet of the Mechaber or not? Should we make it with the first sheet? If you look in the Bir Allah over here, V'yesh oimim shaloi asu. Says the Bir Allah, the Bach Kasav, the Naktina Lechumra, Kesvara Harishayna, we go Lechumra like the first Svara, which is that even just holding the kid's hand is also. Al Ba'el Yurabah Kosav, Yesh Lismoich Al Deyazu, which is the second Shita, Bishum Sakonas Chayli. Begam, the Ramban, Basrahu, Baran, Hevi. So the Bir Allah says that the Eli Rabbah is Soymich on the second Shita. He says we Soymich on the second Shita because we go to Ramban, Shu Basroi. Now, so let's think about it a second. What comes out is, according to the second Shita, when the kid has Gaguim, you're allowed to hold the kid's hand when he's holding a Dover Muktzah. According to the first Shita, if the kid is holding something they may pick up, even though he has Gaguim, you're not allowed to hold the kid's hand. So the whole heta of the second Shita is only if the kid has Gaguim. If the kid doesn't have any yearning for his father, everyone agrees you're not allowed to hold the kid's hand, because he may throw it down. The question is, by Gaguim, or matir or not. So the whole heta of holding the kid's hand that has a muktzah in it is only in the case of Gaguim. The first Shita holds, even in the case of Gaguim, we're not going to be matir it. But in the case where there's no Gaguim, there's no heta, according to anybody.
It's only the case of the dinner, not the case of the stone.
Only the case of the dinner, right.
Dinner. Yeah.
Not the case of the stone. So it would come out that even if you want to be Mako, like the Bir Halacha, like it brings down from the Bach, from the Eli Rabbah, they give Mako, this is only in the case of Gaguim. So if you're walking with a child and he's carrying something muktzah in his hand that you can pick up, he throws it down, there's no Gaguim, it can't be Mako to hold the kid's hand even. The same thing would be to cross the street, Rosh Hashanah, there's no Gaguim, maybe you should be Machmir, that the kid should not be holding something in his hand that's of has any value that you may pick up if the kid throws it down. Like Gaguim, you could be Mako, the kid needs it, it's his baby bottle, he needs it, then maybe you could be Mako.
You said the Poskim don't rule like the Lavush.
The Lavush, they don't bring the Lavush down.
But if we look, according to what you said now, that it only applies if there's no Gaguim. If there are Gaguim,
right.
But if there's no Gaguim, everybody would agree.
So
would come out.
Would agree to the case of Muktzah. To the case of Rosh Hashanah, it could be we never made the Gzera to begin with.
So there's nothing to do with the Gaguim
right.
there. So the Gaguim only is talking about.
Right. It could be we never started that Gzera to begin with, but the Lavush has a good svara. You're machmir on Issa Tiltal, for sure you should be machmir on Tzar Midaraisa. The same chashash, they'll throw it down, they'll pick it up. So a chayish will pick it up by muktzah. You're not chayish to pick it up in Rosh Hashanah. So the svara to say not is because people know you don't carry Rosh Hashanah. Muktzah, people forget sometimes. And it's a deraisa, people won't get carried away with it.
It reminds you of it.
Yeah. So that's the question. That's the machlokes if you go to Lavush or not. In the case where there's no Gaguim, maybe it's Kedai, you're machmir with the Lavush. Okay, let's see if I'll see Beis. Kalkola, Shahais Nekuva. A kalkola, a basket that has a hole in it. The sasma be'even, and you stuffed it up with a stone. Mutal l'taltala, you're allowed to be metaltal the kalkola now. Now there's a stone in the kalkola, so the problem would be that a stone in a basket, the basket becomes a bosses. It's holding up the stone. It's a bosses, a davar aser. Davar aser. Ever is a davar aser. So we also to carry the basket. So here it's mutter. Why is it mutter? Because the stone becomes part of the basket, and now the stone becomes a davar heter. The kol tries in the kuv v'sasma be'ever mutter taltala sheinasa kedoifna. Now becomes like the wall of the basket. Therefore, it's mutter. Why? Because the stone itself is not muktzah anymore.
Yeah.
The stone becomes
part of the basket.
Not muktzah anymore. It's part of the basket. The last for Toilim Evan, you have a pumpkin, whatever it was. They used to empty it and use it to draw water from the well. So they wanted it to go down, otherwise it would float. So they put a stone on top of it to have weight, and therefore it pulls it down. To make it heavy, to fill up with the water. So it depends. if it's tied tight to the last, won't fall off mutter, because then it becomes part of the last. Mutter l'malasva shu kemoyad las atmo shu botel agava but v'mlav aser. But if it's not tied tight, so it doesn't become part of the last, and then it becomes aser. If you look in the Magen Avraham Sifkan Gimel Nasa Kedoifna, Kivin Tahatka, since you tied it strong, Shavya Doifin. It has a din like the wall of the las. Mashma dem loy hatka loy. If it didn't do it tight, it's awesome. Why? Because then it doesn't become like part of the glass, and it's also to move it, and it's called a basis of David Asa. So if you look over here in the Mishnah Berurah, Nafsek the Maisha Hatka Yavel Kakala, you tied it strong to the Kakala, or you stuck it in tight, or you tied it. Abalavi Hachi, the Nafsek Daifna. Okay. Bechain the last, Hanad last Evesha, V'chalula, empty water, Malam Bamayim, V'lach Kala, V'tzaf Apemayim, Turn by Evan. Kidei Lachbidam. You put an Evan onto it to make it heavy in order for it to pull it down. So ve'ilav aser, if you didn't tie it heavy, tied strong onto it, it's aser. Why? Shad las atzma muktzah, shenasis basis l'davar aser. Now that the last becomes a basis l'davar aser, because the stone is hanging from it. If you look in the Sharet Tzion, Sifkat Yud Aleph, important Sharet Tzion. The next Shavuot Evan is going on before that. If you put the Evan, the stone, into the glass, and you don't put it in strong, then it becomes a basis. The glass becomes a basis to the stone. So he says it like this: the next Shavuot Evan idea hiduk k'may doifin hadlas. Lefizeh hayimashma says the Sharet Tzion. Hayimashma l'chayru dafik she'evan nasiv v'teich hadlas. V'chalash la Mishnah ha'evan shebichirua, a stone that's inside. But not when it's hanging outside the glass.
It has to be the one complete.
Inside. It has to be inside the glass.
Yeah.
In every case it's bottle, even though it's hanging outside. Here's a shadow in the poskim. If you have something hanging outside the glass, not inside the glass. If you have an Evan inside the glass, we say the glass becomes a basis of Davar Aser. How bad if it's not inside? It's hanging outside the glass. For example, the case of if you use a Lamalizba. So there, it's hanging outside the glass. Does the glass become a basis of Davar Aser?
It's still attached to it.
It's attached to it, but it's not inside. Do you need a basis of Davar Aser to be something that's holding it up? It's in it, but even hanging on the outside of it, as long as it's holding it up, it still could become a basis of Davar Aser. And there being a right from here that even though it's hanging on the outside, it could still be considered a basis of Davar Aser. And we'll see later on, there's nafkaminis. A lot of times you have cases where something is not inside the chayfetz. The chayfetz is not inside something; it's hanging outside. It could still be called a basis l'davar aser, and it's also a taltaloi unless it's kosher, it's tied tight.
It's hodek toif. It's well
right.
attached.
If it's attached, then it becomes part of the kalkala. But otherwise, it's also. Okay, Sif Gimel. Kalkala malaya peiris. You have a basket full of peiris, of fruit. The Evan B'Seicha, you have a stone inside of it. Himheim Peris Utuvim, So here, what happens is, there's a little bit of akdama. You have a basket, inside you have fruit, and you have a stone. So basically what you have over here is, you have something that's a basis, the davar aser, or the davar hamutter. The peiros are mutter, the stone is aser. So you have a basis, the davar haheter, the davar aser. So here we're talking about a case where the peiros are worth more than the stone. So therefore, if you want to move the kalkala, you're allowed to move it. It's mutter to move the kalkala,
on account of the pairs.
because the peiros are, it's really called basis the davar hamutter, because the peiros are the main thing. But we have a klal that any time you have a basis the davar haheter, the davar iser, even though the davar hamutter is worth more, so it's mutter to move it, you have to try to get rid of the davar aser. But even though you can't do the tzarech davar hamutter, we consider this metilta the tzarech davar hamutter, because that's the more chashav thing over here. Still, you have to try to get rid of the davar aser. You shouldn't leave it in there. So that's the sif over here.
But again, you cannot pick it up and throw it.
By a dime, you cannot
So
do
see,
it.
you can't pick up the ever and throw it down, right?
Yeah, that's again the muktzah.
So kalkala malaya peiros. You have a basket full of peiros. Ve'evim b'toicha. Im heim peiros utuvim. That means they're going to get ruined.
It can damage.
It can be damaged, yeah. So yita loisa k'may shehi. You could carry it the way it is. She'im yina'er ha'peiros mitoicha yafsidim. You'll ruin the peiros if you empty it. You'll ruin the peiros. Aval im heim peiros einam nefsadim. If the peiros that won't get ruined, Yinare, shake out the peiros and the even
together.
Yinare gama even imohem, v'lo yitlena imohem, and don't carry the even together with the peiros. Why? Because if you have an eitzah to get rid of the davar ha'aser, you should get rid of it. You need the peiros or the kalkala. That's when you have to do this. You need the place where the kalkala is. But Tatal Kamashahi, you let it move it the way it is. Why? Because now again you don't have an eitzah. You need the place where the kakala is. What did he say? Empty it with the stone and the peiros. Then the stone's going to be in the place that you need. If you need the place where the kakala is on, so it's not going to help to empty it with the stone and with the peiros. Because then you're stuck, the stone's there. So therefore, again, you're allowed to move it because it's called tiltim and atzad, the tzarech davar hamutim.
But then can you pick up the fruit that you spilled out?
Yeah, fruit you can pick up, but the stone you can't.
Because it's not muktzah.
Right, the fruit is not muktzah. If you look in the Magen Avram, see if cotton dalid. Yita loisa, the nasa bosses le'isa v'leheter. It becomes a bosses le'isa v'leheter. Ve'em atrichen oisa lita la'peiris b'tei chasal b'yodoi. When I'm atrichen to take the fruit out. You also have a different eitzah. Take the fruit out and leave the basket there and just carry the fruit separately by itself. Because you can't do that.
Then the basket becomes muktzah.
Have a peiris munachim, v'salim, ketanim, teichal kakala, yitleim b'yadoi b'teichal kakala. If there are smaller baskets, then we are matriach, you take out the smaller baskets. But if there's no smaller baskets, you have to carry the peiris separately, then the halacha is we're not matriach you because it's a basis le'isser v'leheter. If you look at the Mishabur over here, Sivka and Tes, Kamoishahi, Afsha Yesh Evan B'toicha, why is it mutter? The Nasis HaKalkala, Basis L'Isser V'leheter, and then it says very important words over here, V'aheter, Chashir, Yaiser, V'bata L'Isser L'Gaba, and the Isser becomes Bata to L'Heter, V'havak Ilu Any Basis, Rak L'Heter. V'afa Gaf Me'mele Metaltal Gam Me'even, Shari L'Taltal HaKalkala, V'lagir L'Bakam Shiyitzer. Why? Because without matriach you take out the peiros. But if you have a way of getting rid of it, it'll be also to carry it. So now, what happens if the davar hamuktzah, the davar ha'aser, is more chashuv than davar heter? So you have a basis, you have things that's carrying in it that's heter and iser. So we just say now the reason why you like carry it is because the heter is more chashuv,
More important.
is more valuable.
Now it's reversed.
So how is the opposite? If the iser is more valuable, then what happens is, so
Then the whole thing
the whole
becomes
thing becomes
muktzah.
also.
No.
Because we go, what's more chashuv? So this happens a lot of times.
You just take the fruit out.
So the
Yeah, you
payers,
take the fruit out.
itself become muktzah.
The pears don't become muktzah. You not take the fruit out.
But you cannot.
You can't move the kalkola.
The basket.
Right, the basket becomes muktzah.
Muktzah, yeah.
That's what happens. So here, this is a very, very common case. You have a drawer, and in the drawer you have things that are muktzah, things that are not muktzah. I allowed to open the drawer to take out the things that are not muktzah. So one klal you have to know, we'll see later on, there's more klalim, but one klal you have to know is that if whatever is there, it's a more chashuv. You have a drawer, there's a lot of tchotchkes in it, nothing's important. You have an expensive camera inside. The camera is more worth than anything else over there. So the halacha would be that the drawer is considered a bosses to davar hamuktzah.
How can you use camera on the Shabbat?
You can't.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
That's what muktzah. So the drawer becomes bosses to davar hamuktzah.
Don't open.
But we'll see later. We'll see in Sif Daled. Next week we'll go through Sif Daled. So I says the Magen Avram here. Sif Daled is a very important sif about how something becomes a bosses. So we have to have all the klolim that it became a bosses to davar asad also. For example, we'll see later on. If something only becomes a bosses if you put it down there and you want it to be there. But if you didn't put it down there, dropped it by mistake, whatever it is, lav dafka becomes a bosses. We'll see later on. Not always when something's in a drawer is it become a bosses. So then you have to see what's in the drawer and what it becomes a bosses to. But I'm talking about a case where it is a bosses. There's things in the drawer and it's a bosses to everything in the drawer. Everything is meant to be there. So then, if there's more muktzah in the drawer, then you have to be careful because then it becomes the whole drawer becomes a bosses for the davar muktzah. This is like the lashon of the Mishnah Berurah says over here, right? That if you have isser v'heter chashav yetzer batal the isser legabah, it doesn't mean that the isser becomes heter. It doesn't mean that, right? The stone stays muktzah. You're not allowed to take out the muktzah on Shabbat. The stone stays muktzah. But it means this when the did bosses, the isser is batal, meaning it's as if it's not there, but it doesn't turn it into heter. Same thing the opposite. If you have isser and heter, even though the heter is more chashuv, it doesn't turn the heter into isser. The heter you're allowed to take out if you have a way of getting to it. You don't have to move the drawer. If it's in a basket, all you have to do is stick your hand in and take out the heter.
But there is a problem. If the basket has fruit and a stone, I cannot take out the fruit and then keep the basket only with the stone because now it's all asur. The basket becomes asur because there is a muktzah inside, and I cannot move I cannot throw the stone now once there is no fruit inside.
So what's wrong with that?
That means I cannot take out
move the basket. So you cannot move the basket.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. No, but
wasn't the buses at Benish Moshe? So when became buses after?
As long as the fruits were there.
Okay, but now it's the buses.
But now it's a buses because
on Shabbos.
Yeah, but the halacha is we spoke. We'll see it more. If you go, it's machlokes to become buses on Shabbos. But if the chiluk is it becomes buses on Shabbos, if the stone falls out, then it becomes ice buses. It's mutter. If it's buses Benish Moshe, you can never make it not a buses anymore. Interesting question. Let me think about this. I have to see what the terrace is. You're not allowed to put a davar muktzah on a kli on Shabbos. Now, you're not allowed to take a kli, and it says you're not allowed to put it under a dlaf, on something that's dripping down. Why? Because it's called mavatal kli me'echana. You're taking the kli and you're making it into muktzah. You're not allowed to make a kli into muktzah. So
maybe you leave one piece of fruit in there.
That's what I'm saying. So that's the question here. If you have fruit and a stone,
I'm just saying that if you leave one piece of fruit in
I don't know by taking out the fruit. That's the saying. You take out the fruit now, so it's only basas davar aser, and then you can't move the kli.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's called mavatal kli me'echana. That's an interesting question. Taking out the fruit and leaving the stone inside, so now what's happening is the kli becomes muktzah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mavatal kli me'echana.
Maybe like he says, maybe you should keep
leave one fruit
and then try to linear it so it will fall.
I'm not sure it's called. I think about it. Interesting question. If that's called mavatal kli me'echana.
Yeah.
Interesting question. I don't know. Cool. Okay, we'll continue next week. See you,